Because a lot of times people go to your video and they're like, oh, okay. Oh, Jgod said this is going to be a one shot, or Jgod says this is going to be that. And like what you say is like law now. You know, you could make up anything, be like, you know what? You could use the Bren to blah, 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 blah. And there's like, well, that's not really my favorite gun. But since Jgod said it,
that happened one time for reals. I actually made it an error in my math.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. I made an error and I miscalculated, and it was with the FR556.
Okay.
And it was like the TTK was like 200 milliseconds faster than it was supposed to be. So then all the content creators for like 3 days were using it.
Oh, bro, I remember that time.
Yeah.
Oh, bro,
but it wasn't meta. It wasn't.
Right,
it was,
right.
but I was, my mistake influenced it.
Right.
And it was just like a thing.
Yeah.
And it was what it was. But it's kind of cool. Like,
it is because, you know, like I said, so how does that feel like being the guy that everybody comes to? Because like and I know I keep saying it, and I know it's getting a little redundant for the people that are watching this, but like you really are the person that people like, I got to see what this guy is doing. And to think when you first started playing Call of Duty to where you are now, what has that transformation been like? And how does that feel like from an emotional standpoint?
Well, it's kind of nice in a certain way. Like I kind of hear it, and it's kind of funny to hear and think about. But it happened gradually. It didn't happen like overnight. I think the critical thing happened when Cold War got integrated into Warzone. Because up into that, I was doing stat stuff, but it wasn't like, oh my God, it's different. And I think Exclusive Ace was still actively posting Warzone stuff because he was still enjoying the game. But after the Caldera thing happened, it was like, oh, none of the stats match. Like, not even close. Like they're completely different. This gun says it helps strafe speed. It doesn't. Right. Oh, this gun says it's for bullet velocity. It's not. This one says nothing about bullet velocity, but it does.
Right.
And it was like, oh shoot. So it was a kind of a domino effect where you had, I was able to test some things. I spent hours testing, and there's a lot that goes into that. But then sometimes people don't realize there's a lot of hours of testing stuff to test like a theory that somebody said they said, but then you find out that there's nothing. So you can't make a video on nothing. So you kind of lose that time. You don't get it back. But it was nice during that time because literally everything I tested was something that could be making a video on, and that helped. So whether we had the DMR using the titanium barrel that said nothing about bullet velocity or it was just fire rate, it was like broken. And it was legitimately broken on top of the fact that the gun was broken. So it was like, oh, boom, this is it. And what happened is my videos started popping off at that time. And I remember this was before like I got followed by a lot of bigger names. Right. And it was like on stream, Teep is streaming. I only heard this after the fact, kind of what happened. But Teep is streaming and everyone in his chat's like, Jgod said. And he's like, I don't know who the hell Jgod is.
Right.
You know? And it was no disrespect. He just don't watch YouTube like that, right? They said, this is it. And he goes, all right, cool. Well, I'm going to use this. And he tests it for himself, at least the hand testing. Mm-hmm. Pro players are very good at like
everything.
Yeah. So they're able to figure out like, boom, just based off feel, not even like hard, this is this, you know? Mm-hmm. And he was like, damn, this guy knows what he's talking about. Like, boom. All right, cool. So he drops a follow. And then with Twitter, a lot of times you can tell like when you click on someone's profile, it says who follows them.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh shoot, okay, cool. So that was like a domino effect. And then you got like people like Carmo follow or whatever. And then one day it's like Nick Merckx follows because Swag follows, and you know, it's all these other things, and it's like a domino. And then like when Nick Merckx hit the follow and then he tweeted at me, that was like, oh shoot, this is real. Yeah. This is real. What's going on here? Yeah. And it was like different after that. And it was like, he would even talk about it on stream, and it would Tim the Tapman, and all of a sudden Tim the Tapman follows. Yeah. And it's just like one of those things that kind of grew over time. And it was like, oh damn, this is like surreal, because for the longest I was watching all these people and it was like, there was a huge disconnect. Right. And now it's like, oh, that's cool. Not like we're buddy will hang out,
I get it,
but it's kind of like cool. The respect is there. And these are grinders. These guys have been grinding for a decade, you know? Yeah. So it's kind of like nice to, sense of achievement, validation. Well. And then it kind of like just put that stamp of approval that like, oh, he was right on these 7 things in a row. So guess what? I'm going to assume he's right on the next one. Yeah. And that's